This is the plaintiff, Jason. He says he's an Uber driver, and the defendant arranged for a pickup at 1 a.m. on August 2nd. The guy ended up smashing his door into a metal garbage can, denting it. He refuses to take responsibility for the damages he caused, and he's suing him for the $1,746.89 he's owed. This is the defendant, Thomas Malloy. He says the plaintiff refused to take him to his destination, and when he got out of the car, he gently opened the door into a metal garbage can. He admits there was a small scratch on the door of the car. The guy's trying to make a federal case out of it, and he doesn't feel he's responsible. He's accused of denting it up, but good. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $1,181.30 for counseling and lost wages.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says the defendant took his anger out in his car by slamming it into a garbage can, and he wants money for the damage. But the defendant says the plaintiff is an Uber driver who refused to take him to his destination, so he got out of the car and accidentally dinged his door. It's the case of your Uber is garbage.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Jason, you are suing Mr. Malloy for $1,746.89 for your car repair of $1,100 plus $600 in interest. You have a counterclaim against him for your MCAT exam prep fees, registration, counseling, and lost wages. The MCAT is the exam to get into medical school?
Correct.
Okay, are you in college now?
I am.
All right, what year of college are you in?
Junior, third year.
Okay, and you're preparing for the MCAT now?
I took it in the summer and had already registered for it. However, because of my court appearances, was not able to prepare adequately.
So you didn't take the exam?
I took the exam, but need to retake it, so the fees will be incurred again.
All right, Mr. Jason, you start. You tell me what happened this night.
All right, so it was the night of August 1st, 2021.
Okay.
And it was in Hoboken at approximately 1 a.m. That night, I had already done quite a few hours of Uber, and my last ride took me to Hoboken, and I was just ready for my next ride. And so I got a ride, and it turned out to be Mr. Malloy and his friend. And his other friend was rushing towards the car, so I stopped immediately.
Wait, hold on. So you see the ride, and you sign up for the ride?
Well, the ride pops up. It doesn't tell me who it is.
Well, it pops up, but you signed up for, like, in other words, it pops up on the way Uber works, my understanding is it pops up on a bunch of people and somebody answers, you're the somebody who pressed it, right?
Yes, I pressed it.
Okay, and go ahead.
And so followed by Thomas Malloy, and they enter my car, and as Mr. Malloy enters it, there's a trash can about 2-3 feet away. So there's quite a bit of distance, but I was a little bit worried about that. Mr. Malloy was aware of that as well, as I saw him get in, and he was careful. And yeah, and he got in. But after I swiped start trip, because that's when you can see the rider's destination.
Just a second. You see the rider's destination before you accept the trip.
You do not.
So what if it's a 4-hour drive? You don't find that out till the customer's sitting inside your car. That's not true. I know, I use Uber all the time. That's just not how it works. You know what the rider's destination is. You may not have realized it because it's 1 a.m, you've been driving a long time, but you knew when you answered for it what ride you were answering for. It's not a mystery where the person's going.
Madam, with all due respect,
yeah,
all Uber drivers wish that was the case, so then we can choose our rides carefully. Unfortunately, only the very top tier get that privilege. 90%.
I can't accept that, because what if it's a 4-hour ride?
Exactly, and some occasions
I can't imagine that what you're saying is truthful. But in any event, what happens here is after you have accepted the ride, how long were you waiting for the ride?
5-10 minutes probably.
Then you come, and was it one of those situations where Uber says it'll be 1 minute, and then it's magically 5 minutes, then it's magically 7 minutes, and then if you cancel, it's $5 on you?
I wasn't the one that called it. The other party was the one that called it.
So in any event, you get in the car, and he tells you, what does he say?
We said, hello, how are you? Closed the door. I'm fine, thanks. Rolling on his phone, and then turned around and said, I'm really sorry, but I can't take you. Explained that we were going 45 minutes north. We were in Hoboken going to Bergen County. He lives 45 minutes south, so he couldn't take us home.
Okay, were you angry?
I was not. The other party, who matches the pretty much same physical description, was getting irritated because he was the one that called the ride. There was some exchange that occurred, and then I said, let's just leave. Opened the door, forgetting the garbage can was there, and it tapped it. As I got out, I said, oh, I'm sorry. Walked away, and then I saw him get out of the car, and he was on the phone. I said, are you calling the police? He said, yes, and I was like, okay, maybe I should stay.
Okay.
We proceeded with
Okay,
the
but
rest
it
of
is you, when you say match the same physical description, but it is you who accidentally hit the door.
I was the one
All
that
right, do you
opened
have pictures of the damage to the door?
Yes.
I sent that to.
Yeah, I have that. I was just wondering if you had physical pictures. No, all right, I've got them here. Because it's sometimes hard, it's often hard to see in a picture. Okay, so what am I looking at here? This is the door handle?
It's the very edge of the door, so it's.
I see it, I
There's
see
a
it.
distance.
So it's like the silvery part that I'm seeing?
Yes, with the bent part, the
Right,
slightly concave section.
yeah.
That's as far as the trash can was, and because it's in a very difficult position, that's why it's a lot more than I thought would be to repair it.
All right, so so the police are out there, and you, what do the police say?
So the police basically saw the situation. He took down both sides. He took down my side, and I told him what happened, and basically everything I just told you. Mr. Malloy was very angry. I got out. I let him know about the bang.
And what did he say?
He was angry. He was just yelling.
What did he say? What was he
He was
yelling?
like, what is that? What is, because he was pointing at other stuff on the door. He's like, what is that? What is that? What is that? And his other friend came and took a look at that dent, and he was like, you're fine, you're good. But it was a new car. It was a dent, and he was just yelling. I couldn't communicate with him.
Okay, well, what was he yelling?
He was saying, what is that? What is that? Like pointing at other things. On the
Like
door.
implying that the car was beat up?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so then the police come in. What do the police tell you?
The police officer said.
It's a civil matter.
He said, yeah, it's probably best to take it in small claims because
All
I
right,
can't.
so you don't take it to small claims. What do you do?
Actually, I do. I attempt to at first. I exchanged contact information with Mr. Malloy.
Which the police insisted on. Everybody changed the exchange of contact information. Okay.
So with that contact information, I know that I understand that I need his address in order for papers to be served. I know that that's a must.
Didn't you get the address?
I did not.
Wait, what information did you exchange?
Just a phone number. I asked for a little bit more, but he.
No, but the police is standing right there. Why don't you just ask for the address? And that is the information is the name, address, and phone number, and/or take a picture of the license. Like, how is it that didn't happen? Okay.
I asked him for his phone number, his address, his
when the police,
ID.
you shouldn't even be talking to him. It is now a police matter because you called the police. The police should be asking for. So did you say to the police, "I need his address," or no?
I mean, I asked the police, but the police were like, "You two talk. We'll stand right here."
Oh, really?
Yes.
All right.
yes.
And then what happened? You asked for his address, and what did he say?
He said no. I asked him for his ID or insurance. He said no, don't have it, didn't bring it.
The police do nothing. They say it's a civil matter. And then do you find his address and you sue him because you have a small claims case in front of me. But before you do that, you go to the prosecutor's office.
So, before that, I sent him a text message asking for his address. No response. At that point, I have nothing. I can't do anything except go back to the police station.
Right.
And ask for his address.
Right.
And actually, in fact, the police say that due to some reasons, due to some past issues, we are not allowed to give out his address. So at that point, I speak to another police officer there, explain to them the situation, everything that happened. What can I do? I know this Mr. Malloy did this intentionally. After he heard the bang, it was a loud bang. It was a metal trash can.
You feel he did it intentionally?
Absolutely, no doubt, no doubt. He had motive and everything. Absolutely.
So, did the police give you his address? Yes or no?
No.
How did you end up getting his address?
Eventually, at the very, very end, we went through municipal.
Just answer the question.
Okay.
How'd you get his address?
The Hoboken prosecutor at
Prosecutor.
the end.
Let's talk about the prosecutor. So what
Yes.
was your first move? You went to the prosecutor's office?
I didn't go to any prosecutor. It was over Zoom. It was during court. At the end of court, when the municipal judge said that he has motive, but
Wait,
since you do not
did you
have
not go to a different prosecutor first who said,
Hoboken.
no, we're not filing charges?
Yes.
All right. Which prosecutor's office did you go to first to make sure he gets prosecuted that said we're not filing charges?
Hoboken Municipal Court.
All right, and then the prosecutor's office decides to prosecute for criminal mischief?
Because I told them the story, they understood everything that happened.
Did they talk to you before they filed charges? Did they attempt to talk to you? Did any police officer talk to you? That night the police officers talked to you?
Yeah.
And did they ask you if you did it on purpose?
Yes. However,
And what'd you say?
I said no.
Right, okay. So the prosecutor charges you, and do you have to get a defense lawyer, or do you just show up?
I just showed up for the first few, and then they said you can probably apply for a public defender. I said, okay, send the application. I filled it out, and they gave me one.
Okay, and then there's an actual trial.
I don't know the terminology, but I did
It's a
show
trial,
up many times.
right?
Yeah.
There was testimony in front of a judge?
No, we never got there because a lot of things happened. His defendant kept delaying it, and during that time, the prosecutor was changed 3 times, so it was a headache for both of us.
So what happened with the charges?
Eventually, his defendant
His public defender?
His public defender filed a motion to dismiss, so the judge reviewed it, said that there was definitely motive for him to intentionally damage the door.
Oh, so it went away on a motion to dismiss.
Yes.
Yes.
But because there was no dash cam evidence that, beyond a reasonable doubt, he couldn't do it.
No, yeah, he shouldn't have been charged. Because even though you feel he did it on purpose, it's really hard to prove something like that. Certainly, he should have to pay for it. I hear what you're, if he damages, he should have to pay for it. But I'm stunned that, that it took that long to get dismissed.
3 prosecutors were changed.
Yeah, I was a prosecutor. And 3 prosecutors were changed. That means 3 prosecutors didn't dismiss it on their own. That's even worse in my eyes. Because this is an impossible case to prove. That how can you prove what was in his head at that moment? I presume that you're drinking, right? You're out partying. It's 1 a.m. So it's hard to. You have to form a certain specific intent to damage your property to be able to charge him with. What were you charged with anyway? Criminal mischief. Yeah. To charge him with criminal mischief. So the question is, could he even have that intent at 1 a.m? That's why the judge says motive, because he's probably pretty angry. Because if I waited 10 minutes for an Uber, and then I sat in that Uber, and then that Uber driver told me, oh, wait, now that I've wasted 10 minutes of your life, and now you may wait another half hour at 1 a.m. for the next Uber, I just noticed where it was, and I'm not taking it. I don't get it, because the request comes in exactly, this is where I am, and this is where I'm going.
Welcome back to the People's Court. The question, was this an innocent mistake or a malicious act? Let's go back into the courtroom and find out.
No matter what, you can't hit his car door against the thing. So now where are we? Let me see. Do you have all 3 repair estimates here? Because honestly, this kind of looks like a job for Dent Wizard.
Thank you, sir.
Where they suck it out?
But it's on the side of the door. That's why they have to redo the whole trunk.
Yeah, sometimes they can't do the sucking out, depending on where it is.
Exactly.
But when was the case dismissed?
Likely August, maybe July.
Of 22?
22, yes.
Okay. So after that happens and the case gets dismissed, because it didn't get dismissed because it was a hassle for both of you. It got dismissed because a judge went ahead and dismissed it. Then do you file this case?
So I didn't have his address. There was nothing for me to do. But luckily for me, the prosecutor mentioned that there is something called an OPRA that I didn't know about, that the police officer didn't tell me about, where if I file through this OPRA, I am able...
A public records request? It doesn't matter. You got his address, you sued him, so now we're here.
I finally got his address.
Okay,
yeah.
have you had that dent fixed in the last 2 years?
I did not, because I can't afford it. And I called my insurance, but they...
All right, now I see in some texts that you're sending him, you tell him $300 and this will go away. You ignore those texts. Why do you ignore the texts instead of answering?
At the time of the incident, he was demanding $300. I didn't have cash on me. I told him if you file through your insurance, and my insurance will fulfill. I don't know how it works.
Well, it doesn't work. You weren't driving, so your insurance isn't going to...
Yeah, I don't know how it works, but I was willing to pay for the damages, but just the way he was approaching the situation was very off-putting. So I ignored.
What do you mean by off-putting?
The police were there, and before they had
arrived.
Yeah,
I'm talking about in the text, $300 and this goes away.
Right, so that was about the 7th time he had asked for $300.
Right.
So at that point, I was like, I'm just not going to answer you. Oh. And then, yeah.
I sent him 2 texts.
Stop. So let me tell you where we are. Mm-hmm. You have not applied to medical school yet, have you?
Mm-mm.
No, but you're gonna, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have never applied to medical school, but I have nursed many of my children's friends through their applications. And I have watched my children apply to law school. The question on the application is going to be if you have ever been arrested.
Fair.
That's going to be the question.
Okay.
And now you got to explain it. So let me give you just a little bit of advice for the future. The more you have to lose, the more you want to just quash something before it becomes a federal case. I know that in your head you never imagined that he would go to a prosecutor's office, much less imagined that you'd be charged. You must have been gobsmacked when you got charged. Right.
Absolutely.
Right. But you have a lot to lose. Right? And hopefully in the future you'll have even more to lose. And so as in your life, when you have more to lose, you have more to just put behind you. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely.
All right?
Understood.
So if you know that you hit the car and that you do owe the guy something for hitting the car, then the advice the people around you should have given you is, oh, for the love of God, let's just get this behind it. Because you and the people around you know that what your future plans are and what you have to lose. But in any event, my advice to you in the application, make it 3 sentences. Don't make it into a big deal. Just make it 3 sentences. This happened, the case was dismissed, by the judge.
Right.
That's it. All right. But now what are we going to do? Because now you could have gotten rid of it for $300, and now he has 3 estimates for the lowest one is $1,050, and so that's where we are now. And you are counterclaiming. Oh, let's talk. I love your counterclaim. You're counterclaiming against him for the MCAT exam cost, the registration fee, the prep packet. Half of the counsel, what are the counseling fees? Counseling for the MCATs or counseling for counseling?
Counseling for personal reasons.
Okay. Half of those, why half?
I figured 100% of it wasn't because of him, but it did start because of this whole case.
It started because of the door or when you got criminally charged?
When I was charged criminally, yeah.
Right. Dude, man. Right? Yeah. Okay.
Bit of a
Lesson
wait.
learned.
Bit of a wait.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to make him pay your MCAT stuff.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's just not. I'm also not going to make him pay your lost wages in criminal court. Your remedy is to win, which you did, and that's good because that's better for your application. But all of the stuff that you're suing for, if he had done something to you, like plagued you on social media, and that would be different. But what he did was take his case to a prosecutor's office that filed it. So, I'm surprised that it happened, but he didn't do anything wrong. He's angry. He thinks you did it on purpose. He thinks you should be prosecuted. So he goes there and it was crazy, just crazy that it went that far, but it did. So now I've got to decide what the damage is worth. I find that if he can get it fit, I know that it is hard. You can't dent wizard it on the corner of the car. It's a problem. So I'm going to find for the cheapest estimate, which is $1,051.72 on your counterclaim against him. For more than that, for your MCAT and counseling, 0 for the reasons we've already discussed. And I wish both of you luck. Good luck, gentlemen.
So the plaintiff prevails. He gets just over $1,000 from the judge, not the $1,700 he was seeking. The defendant, Mr. Malloy, is on his way out of the courtroom. This has been an interesting ride you've been on since the night you didn't get the ride you wanted, right?
Absolutely.
What's your reaction to what just happened in here?
I can't say I'm surprised that I didn't get the counterclaim for sure. However, I am surprised that she found me guilty, being that I didn't place the garbage can or the car. But things
Well,
happen.
you admitted you hit the door.
Oh, absolutely.
The
There was no
That's
denying
why
I
she
hit
found in his favor.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just strange that, he parked the car there. Therefore, I didn't, forgetting that the garbage can is there doesn't seem like it's my fault, but I do understand why.
Were you mad when you got out of the car? Do you remember?
Absolutely not. I was the one diffusing the situation. The other party was angry.
Really?
Yes, 100%.
Well, you got hooked for it.
Yeah, no,
Listen,
it's all right. It
okay.
happens.
I'm sure you've learned a lot out of this experience.
You can say that.
I would hope so. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, you owe him just a little over $1,000. All righty. Good luck to you. Hope you get in med school. Thank you. All right. All right. This has been an amazing ride you've been on. For heaven's sakes, you don't give up, do you?
I mean, I guess not.
No, I mean, good for you. Come on, you felt somebody had damaged you, and you were going to keep at it until you got some resolve.
Well, a lot of it was out of my control.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish it didn't go this long. A lot of it was out of my control. So.
All right. Thank you very much. Congratulations. All right, Harvey, what are your thoughts?
Well, Doug, I mean, this is pretty obvious that when you pull out, you need to know who is around you. If you do not look carefully and you get in an accident because you don't, you're going to be responsible.
Marilyn, what's the one thing you would never do again?
If there's one thing I could change, I would demand a parenting manual when I took them from the hospital.
Because you had no clue.
No
when you
clue.
walked
And I
out the
feel
door.
like I feel like I learned along the way, and
Right.
so does everybody. But I feel
we
like
were so utterly unprepared for what lay ahead that day. When we came home, we put the kid on the tabletop, and we sat down next to him. We just looked at each other.
What have these people done?
Now what?
No.
Holy crap! There's somebody else in the house.
But
now.
I think I was harder on my first one than I was excessively harder on my first one, and I would do that differently.
You have such a thoughtful answer to that question. You know, I was going to say I probably wouldn't go ziplining again, which is, really reflects something about the difference between me and you. So, having kids is a little more complicated than ziplining.
Yeah. Who knew?